Okay, in this final screencast, we're going to look at how to work out the standard deviation of the data. So the standard deviation formula is this scary looking thing here. It looks scary, but it's actually not. If we break it down, if we actually break it down, then, actually I'll just add a layer to that. Okay, if we break it down, then we can see it's just a square root sign here. So we're taking the square root of a number. And there are just a few signs we need to deal with here. This funny looking sign, if you remember from before, means the sum of. It's that sigma sign, it means to add up a list of numbers. And what it's asking us to do is to add up a list of numbers, which we're going to talk about in a moment, which is indicated here. If we're going to add up the list of all these numbers, and then we're going to divide it by n minus 1. Now n, if you remember, is the number of pieces of data, which for our height investigation, I think we had 10. So 10 minus 1 would be 9. So anyway, that's the formula. I'm now going to take it really slowly and show you how we can actually use that formula to work out the standard deviation of the height data that we had. So let's go ahead and do it. So just quickly I'll show you, I'll hide that, and there's our data from the heights that we were looking at earlier. So what I'm going to do is just take that data, and not in any particular order, and I'm going to put it in a table. So I'll hide that again, and we're going to put it in this table here. Okay, and there's a, oops, sorry about that. So I wanted that. Okay, so here is our data. 138, 143, 156, 144, and so on. That's our list of data. And remember, we use the term X to represent, oops, to represent the list of data. Now, this X minus X dash, what this is saying in this column, this second column here, it's asking us to take the X value, in this case is 138, the first one, and it's asking us to take 138 and subtract the mean of the data. Now, we calculated the mean earlier, and do you remember that the sum of all the X values, if we add all the data up, it adds up to 1,525, and the number of data points is 10, so therefore the average, or the mean, X dash, will equal 152.5. That's 1525 divided by 10. So that's our average, or our mean. So what we need to do now is go in our first space in here, we're going to go the X value, which is 138, take away 152.5. So it's going to be 138 minus 152.5, and that equals negative 14.5. So that will be negative 14.5. The next column over here, what that's asking us to now do is to take that number we worked out in here, this number here, and square it. So in other words, saying take x minus x dash, which is what we worked out here, and square it. So it's going to be, and you can drop the negative sign because the negative times the negatives are positive anyway. So 14.5 squared is actually equal to 210.25. So that will be 210.25. The next one, we now go to the next row, same deal again. So this time it's 143, take away the mean. So it'll be 143 take away 152.5, and that equals negative 9.5. And then the next column over here, we take that number and we square it. So negative 9.5 squared, or 9.5 squared, gives us 90.25. So we continue that all the way down the list. Okay, Pretty boring, but it's pretty easy as well. So all you need to do is continue down the list. Now I've already done all that, so I'll hide all that, get rid of that, and there's all of our data. Okay? So I've worked out the x minus x dash for each particular data point, and then I've squared each of those values. So I've now filled in that column. So now, in order to work out the standard deviation, I just need to plug in the value that I actually am looking for, which is this. I want the sum of x minus x dash squared. So the x minus x dash squared is this column here. So what this is telling me to do is to sum them, to add them all up, to add up all those numbers in here. And if I do that, if I add that up, then what I actually get is that. So the sum of x minus x dash equals 724.5. So that number there is what goes in the top part of our numerator. On the bottom part, the n minus 1, well, guess what? N is 10, isn't it? So n minus 1 would be 9. So 9 is what goes in the bottom. And so our standard deviation is going to equal the square root of 724.5, the number on the top, divided by 9. So 724.5 divided by 9 is 80.5. So it actually equals, the standard deviation is the square root of 80.5. And if we do that, what we get is 8.97. 8.97. That is one standard deviation. That is what the standard deviation is. Okay, so finally, what in the hell does that tell us? Okay, well let's have a look at what it tells us.